Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Mr. Sensible. Before we start, we're going to get straight in and have a look at my wonderful patrons. I really appreciate the support of my patrons. Some of my newer patrons, Chris Kelling and David Cooley, John Bunker, and the newest patron, Sky Wizardless. Thank you all very, very much. I really appreciate the support, guys. Now today, we're going to have a look at a video by Owen Benjamin, where he presents so much fail, it's unbelievable. It's a machine gunning of Gish Gallop. So this will be quick fire debunks, point by point. I hope you enjoy. Roll VT.
Okay, let's talk. I'll help remove your pain with some love, okay?
Okay, thanks, Owen.
When you look at the solar system, there's 9 planets, right? According to Neil deGrasse Tyson, the alleged rapist.
Wrong. There are 8 planets. Pluto is a dwarf planet, considered one of the Kuiper belt objects.
They're all spinning in the same direction. You know the odds of that? 2 to the 9th power, 1 in 512.
Wrong. You pulled that figure out of your butt. Considering the solar system is formed from a swirling cloud of gas and dust, they're all going to go the same direction. A 1 in 1 chance of that.
That's very rare. And by the way, do not, during this conversation, do not say it was God's will.
No plans of saying that.
All right, next up on the solar system model, it's on a flat plane. Not just is the solar system a flat plane, the entire Milky Way galaxy is a flat plane.
Wrong. It's more like this. Like 2 fried eggs back to back.
Want to talk about flat Earth? Oh, flat earthers, flat earthers. You're saying that after a Big Bang, even with the law of thermodynamics called entropy, which we'll get to in a second, somehow our galaxy ended up being a perfectly flat plane where all the planets spin in the same direction. The odds of that?
Wrong. There is a difference between the solar system and the galaxy. Go on, tell us the odds.
Are less than winning the Mega Lotto every single day for thousands of years.
Well, it's happened, so I'm going to say wrong, and you just pulled that figure out of your butt as well.
Understand that. Now look at the moon. The moon is a perfect circle.
Wrong. It's not a circle, it's a sphere, and it's not perfect either.
The odds that happened after Big Bang and just chaos of atoms and particles and dust and rocks colliding is 0.
Wrong. A cloud of dust and rocks will always attempt to collapse to a sphere under gravitational influence.
The odds are literally 0. There's no force.
Wrong. Gravity.
There's no wind. There's no erosion.
Wrong. There is erosion on the moon, micrometeoroids, and heating and cooling.
There's no water. There's no force acting upon that moon that would make it a perfect sphere.
Wrong. It's gravity.
Next up, why are the craters all perfect spheres?
Wrong. Good God. Don't you know the difference between a circle and a sphere? And they're not all perfect circles either.
The way asteroids hit, side angle, we've never witnessed an asteroid, okay? The odds that the spin of the moon is exactly the same speed as it rotates around the Earth, again, are 0.
Wrong. In our solar system, the Sun is locked with Mercury, Earth with the Moon, Mars with Phobos and Deimos, Jupiter with Metis, Adrastea, Amalthea, Thebe, Io, Europa, Ganymede, Callisto. Saturn is linked with Pan, Atlas, Prometheus. But for God's sake, it's not 0.
If it was 1/4 of 1 mile per hour different, it would slowly turn. The fact it doesn't, and there is 0 physics explanations with the model of gravity as we know it to explain why the moon, why its axis rotation is exactly matching it rotate around us so that we only see one side.
Wrong. It's called tidal locking.
Light being shined upon a sphere does not make the luminescence the same all the way across. You can do a test with a tennis ball and a flashlight. It's impossible. It can't happen. It only happens on 2-dimensional objects. Seeing as you've only seen one side of the moon because of its miraculous rotation and its perfect circle, and the fact that the luminescence is the same across the whole thing, implies, I'm not stating this, it implies it's a 2-dimensional object.
Wrong. The moon is not evenly lit, and during the course of a rotation, it shows more than just one face due to libration, which is, although it's tidally locked, its orbit is elliptical. As you can see here, it most definitely is not a 2-dimensional object.
A lot more than it's a spinning sphere out of the chaos of the Big Bang. Okay? The size and weight of the moon, according to science, It is impossible for it to be rotating around our Earth.
Wrong. The size doesn't matter. What matters is a combination of size, distance and speed. And the two objects will rotate around their barocentre. Look that up.
The way the moon was created according to mainstream science is that an object the size of Mars hit our Earth and created the moon. That's nonsense. We would have rings like Saturn. Where's all the dust? Where's all the debris? Where's everything? That all just disappeared?
Wrong. That is one of the theories. And as for all the dust and debris, I should think it rained down on the moon and the Earth, making craters.
That makes no sense at all. Next up, the sun is 400 times bigger and miraculously 400 times farther away than the moon.
Wrong. It's not a miracle. It's a coincidence.
And like two machine-cut quarters, they line up perfectly to make an eclipse.
Oh, for goodness sake, that's wrong. This is an annular eclipse, when the moon's in the part of its orbit where it's further away at the same time as the eclipse. They're not exactly the same size.
The odds of that are 1 in trillions times 1 in trillions times 1 in trillions. It's not possible.
Wrong. As I just said, they're not exactly the same size. Those odds you have just pulled out of your butt. And if you don't say something that's correct soon, we're going to have to give up, because you're going to break my count.
That the perfect circles in this world, which can't happen on the moon given the existing model, line up perfectly with something 400 times larger from a third factor, which is your fixed position on an Earth that they claim is spinning 1,000 miles an hour. Okay, the shadow of the eclipse is 70 miles wide.
Just don't go there.
There is no way to make a shadow smaller than the object.
Wrong. Research more and don't be like this little girl.
Of course, there are people that say umbra because, like goats, they've been trained to say that, but they cannot recreate an umbra on Earth. They only believe it because they've been indoctrinated to believe it since the time of their birth by people who want to remove their connection to God.
Wrong. Here you go. And what's God got to do with it?
Okay, next up, evolution.
Really?
So we have something called the Big Bang, which is the ultimate chaotic event. What banged? Who banged it? Why did it bang? How did everything come from a fixed point? Don't even try and tackle that because it makes zero sense.
Wrong. Evolution has got nothing to do with the Big Bang. And I won't tackle it because I'm quite sure that you would not understand it.
But here's something that you can easily think of, and it disproves everything about mainstream science.
Everything? Interesting. Thanks, Jeranism.
The law of entropy is that matter and energy naturally go from order to chaos. If you break a glass, even after 1 billion years, the broken shards will not reform into the glass.
Wow. You got something right.
Because objects have a tendency towards entropy, towards dissolving, towards breaking apart. Whether it's empires or a broken glass, the longer you wait, the more the broken shards become sand. They get ground down, they will never go the other direction. So how do we have a human eyeball from a Big Bang?
Right, stop that! Silly!
I quite agree, Colonel. Very silly indeed. Arnold is not impressed. Your video was 10 minutes 28 seconds long. We managed to get through 4 minutes 43. You got one thing right. Every other word you uttered, total and utter tripe. Owen, anybody can make a mistake. I mean, just look at me and Mrs. Sensible. But if you got an Encyclopedia Britannica, just chose any volume, opened it at any page, and stuck your finger on a random paragraph, you'd provide more correct answers than you did in your video. It's shocking. Just look at that score there. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Just hit Mini-Me down in the corner. Hope you've had fun. Look forward to seeing you all again. Until next time, stay sensible. Brr, arr.
Shut up and sit down.